Hello, welcome everyone to our talk and group meditation. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about spiritually understanding our connection to the energy of nature. This follows on really nicely from a talk I did 2 weeks ago on consciously raising your vibration. And I'm going to focus especially on what happens when we get out in nature. So the first thing that I want to mention, when we get out in nature, nature lives constantly in the moment. So the birds and the trees and the animals, they are not worrying about the past. They're not, they're not fearful of the past. They're not worrying about the future. They're right in the here and now. And so when we get out into nature, it brings us into the here and now. So it brings us right into the present moment, which is the only real place where we can connect with the truth of what's happening. Because what's been is in the past. And if we draw those past fears and project them into the future, that's worry, that's anxiety, that's doubts. But really, when we connect to the absolute here and now, you'll find there comes a profound peace. It's also the only moment in which we can transform and change is in the present moment. So just by being out in nature, not with headphones, not talking to anybody else, just you and nature, opening all your senses. So you're listening, you're smelling, you're seeing, you're touching, feeling, walking on the earth, is a profound spiritual experience. Nature is also in constant change. And when we connect with nature, this helps us to grow and change and to relax and adapt into that process of change. So as human beings, we often want things to stay the same. When you're out in nature, if you're a gardener or you have animals, you know, or if you're a farmer with the seasons, if you grow things never change. We go through the whole cycle from the seed through to the plant, through to the blossom, to the harvest, to the dying down, to the decomposing. Nature is in this constant cycle. So when we go out in nature, it reminds us that we're part of that cycle, that we are part of the ecosystem of this planet. Sometimes when we live in houses and we live especially in cities where there isn't a lot of nature, we can forget. We seem to see ourselves as separate from the planet, separate from nature, and we're really not. When we go out into nature, you'll find it soothes something deep inside. Okay, if your mind is agitated and you just start listening to the birds, there's no room for that agitation. It soothes your heart. It actually expands and opens your heart. We have an awe of nature. You just go into a place where you're looking at something profoundly beautiful. So maybe it's a sunset or a sunrise or a waterfall or a mountain or just a scene in nature that just takes your breath away. We connect with something profound when we just stop in that moment. And we often talk about it taking our breath away because we actually stop breathing. We are so connected and entranced in that moment. And what happens in that moment, there's 3 qualities of our soul that are inherent in every single person. And the reason that we can recognize these qualities is because they are inherent in us. They're the essence of us, if you like. And those 3 qualities are truth. So we can recognize truth because we are truth in essence. Yes, there's lots of layers that may be veiling or covering that truth, but right at the very core of us, we are truth. We are beauty. And this is where nature especially brings to the fore that quality of the soul that beauty touches. And I'm going to explain some quite practical things you can do when you're out walking in nature to really connect with the beauty of nature. The other quality is goodness. And that's why we inherently know what goodness is, because we can't even maybe define it or explain it. We just know what it is because it is part of who we are. So if you like, going out in nature brings out the qualities of the soul. It's very difficult if you're walking in nature, completely connected, and you have something that you are making a decision about or seeking a truth about. You will often find that when you surrender the lower mind and you just absorb yourself in the moment, the truth often intuitively pops into your mind because you have opened up to the energy of nature that brings you into the present moment and into an alignment with your higher self for your soul. Nature is grounding. Now, what do I mean? People say, oh, my energy was grounded. I was very grounded. We are spiritual beings who are down here in physical bodies. And those physical bodies have a much more dense vibration that makes them appear solid. Okay. They're vibrating at a lower frequency. And that physicalness, that matter that we are, is connected to the earth. Okay, so we are connected to the earth both in terms of the ecosystem, but we're also connected to the earth in terms of subtle energy. So in terms of prana, in terms of our etheric or our energy field, our energy body. So that subtle energy that moves through the meridians and the nadis, that comes in through the chakras into your body and vitalizes and enlivens your physical body. There is a connection with the energy of the earth. And that earth energy is very grounding. It's very nourishing for us. We actually have chakras in the bottom of our feet, right under the ball of the foot. And this point connects us to the energy of the earth. It's one of the reasons you feel really good if you go bare feet on the earth, especially, you know, if you're out in the morning and you go bare feet on the grass, or if you've got bare feet in the sand, bare feet in the sea. These fundamentally connect you to that energy of the earth, and this helps to revitalize our physical body. But the other thing about grounding is it works on our base chakra, Muladhara, and that base chakra is very much about I am. The base chakra is to do with feeling safe and secure, that trusting that your very most basic needs will be met. So when you are grounded, you are trusting that the earth will provide you with what you need to survive. So the base chakra is very much about survival. So that connection, that grounding, just gives us a sense of security. It lets us trust in the process of life, trust in that connection that the earth will provide, trust that we will have enough food and water and shelter. Some of these fundamental needs that you know that if you don't have those fundamental needs met, there's no way that you can progress to higher spiritual needs, because those needs have got to come first. I think you're probably aware of Maslow's hierarchy when children are learning. Children can't work up on a higher level of understanding and learning if they're hungry, if they're cold, if they haven't had enough sleep, if they're feeling threatened. And we are the same. So to lift up into the higher spiritual understanding, into our higher self, we have to be grounded. The other thing about people who are grounded, we have an innate sense of how grounded somebody is. And we find people who are very grounded, we find them attractive. And the reason we find them attractive is there's an innate sense that they are connected to what's important. So quite often in a family, there'll be someone who is the rock, someone who grounds the family. In a business, you need someone who grounds the business. In anything where you have people coming together, you'll have somebody who's grounding that energy, keeping it connected to the earth. And then you can draw down the spiritual, the higher vibrational energies to spiritualize matter, but you can't do that if you're not connected to the matter. If you like, if we spend too much time up in our head theorizing about spiritual matters, but we don't actually connect with the earth and are grounded in reality, it's just an intellectual exercise. It's not living as a spiritual being. It's talking about and understanding living as a spiritual being. Grounding is actually living as a spiritual being. And in terms of our health, things like people, when they're grounded, they sleep better. They're more in touch with different electromagnetic fields in the earth, with ley lines, with all sorts of energy considerations there. So grounding is important. The other thing about grounding is it connects you to resources. So if you are someone who is having trouble attracting abundance and resources in your life, especially say money, it probably means you're not grounded. Whereas if you ground your energy, it taps into that deep innate belief in abundance, that there is plenty and that your needs will be met. So quite often in childhood, there can be issues around these security needs, and you can really help move through some of those issues by grounding your energy, by regularly doing a practice that grounds your energy. So there's lots of practices in yoga that ground your energy. Tai Chi and Qigong, there's lots of practices that ground your energy, but really the thing that grounds your energy the most is getting out in nature, getting your feet on the ground, walking out in nature, connecting with nature, you know, bare feet in the ocean, fantastic for grounding your energy. The other thing that being in nature does is when we're in nature, the subtle energy or prana is always all around us, but there are some places where the energy levels of prana are higher, and anywhere in nature that is unspoiled will have much higher prana or subtle energy. So if you like, that energy, you take that energy in through all of your energy centers, through your chakras to varying degrees, depending how open those chakras are. But when you are in a very beautiful, untouched environment in nature, you have the capacity to take in more of that prana. So if you like, you can raise your subtle energy levels by simply being in nature. And the other thing that happens is the energy field that surrounds you normally extends about half a foot right around your body, if you like. When you go out in nature, especially if it's somewhere where you feel expansive, so maybe it's a wide open field or a flowing river or mountains, there's space. Your energy naturally expands. So your aura, your energy field will go right out. And I've stood in a field before and experienced my energy field going as far, filling the whole field easily. And there's a wonderful feeling of expansion. It's almost like when we live in cities and we live too close to too many people, it's like we're enclosed that are too tight. We can do it, but it's uncomfortable. Every now and then we just need to go out in nature and let our energy expand. And especially if we've been having emotional issues that have closed the heart down in a protective way, the heart chakra and the heart energy, by going out in nature, often that connection with nature brings about a healing. And this is why sometimes people can become really emotional when they see something beautiful in nature, or they see animals interacting in a beautiful way, or they just, something touches their heart and there's an opening. That heart that had closed down in a protective way just opens. And you may have experienced this yourself when you're out in nature. So it can be very healing. And I know that there are many programs around the world that take, especially young people, young adults, teenagers, who maybe have come from quite damaged backgrounds, who have low self-esteem and no sense of who they are. And they take them out in nature, and they challenge them a bit, and they take them camping, and they get them really connecting. Sometimes it only takes a week, and it can transform and heal some quite deep trauma. So there's a very powerful connection of the heart going on here when we're out in nature. One of the practical thing, and this is something that I've been working with over the last couple of months, whenever I go for a walk out, especially there's woods near my house, and I go for a walk in the woods and down by the river. And what you can do is you can consciously build your energy, build your prana levels, and this will help to build your immune system and improve your physical health and improve your vitality by connecting with the beauty in nature. So what you do, you need to be on your own, and it needs to be peaceful and you're feeling quite safe. And you're just walking along, or you can stop and sit under a tree and connect. It doesn't matter. The key is that you are connecting, and you connect with your eyes, or you might find, if you're very auditory, that you connect with the sounds. And what you do is you just look at the trees, the foliage, the flowers, and you just keep looking at it with your gaze quite softly until you start to see the beauty. And you'll find this, because quite often we rush through and we don't stop and see the beauty. And you just allow the beauty to start to build. And the more that you look to see the beauty, what happens is what you're looking at becomes more beautiful. And this is quite, it's quite an interesting exercise. Try it in the next week or so. Something that you've looked at and you've thought, yes, that's a beautiful, there's a beautiful part of the woods where I go, where it's sort of like a tunnel of trees. And you'd be looking at that and seeing it the way you usually see it. And then you start focusing on the beauty. And you come into the present moment and you just breathe. And as you focus on that beauty, what you're doing is you're taking in more prana. And as you keep focusing, looking for the beauty, those trees and plants start getting profoundly more beautiful. The colors are more vivid. If you're listening to the sounds of the birds, the sounds become clearer and sharper. And you can just keep doing this, and the beauty just gets more and more. And you start to feel lighter. Any problems that you have just disappear. And you can feel a very strong connection. Now, what is happening when you do this? The reason that everything is looking more beautiful to your eyes is you are starting to perceive the truth of that environment. You're actually seeing it as it is. So this leads us to question, okay, so when I go there normally, if I were to walk through the woods on a day where I'm not feeling very good in myself, maybe I'm angry or upset or I've had a bad day, my energy is low, I'm a bit, and I look around and it just looks like a wood. If I were to stop, just come into the moment and start to breathe and start to look for the beauty in that nature. As that energy comes in and it starts getting more and more beautiful, does that not explain the term that beauty is in the eye of the beholder? because my state of being was determining how beautiful I perceived my world to be. So if I can breathe in that beauty, if I can breathe in that prana and change the way I see the world, the way I perceive the world, the way I saw it before can't be the truth. That was just coming through my filter of how I was on that day. And I've been experimenting with this, and colors change, and you will start to see the energy interactions between plants, between trees and plants, if you soften your gaze and just allow this process. But I really suggest you try it, because what you're doing is you're connecting on a soul level with your environment. And that is bringing you closer and closer to seeing that environment in truth. And you could take this a step further, because you could realize that if we're perceiving the world based on the state I'm in, when I see another person and I make a judgment about that person, or I perceive or see them or a situation in a certain way, is that not just dependent on how I am? Am I seeing the truth? So we can take this a bit further, and when you are dealing with or interacting with any other person, you can look for the beauty in their face. You can look for the soul in their eyes. You can look for their smile. You can look for the good in them. And what you will do as you look for the good in them, you will bring it out, because your soul is invoking their soul. And this comes back to the Buddhist teachings, where the Buddhist teachings say that a true Buddha sees the Buddhic nature of everybody. And if they see before them a person who is angry, they don't see an angry person. They see a Buddha who has been consumed by the illusion of anger. And they have compassion for that person because they are being consumed by the anger. They are in fear and they require compassion and healing. And so do you see how that is a completely different way? That angry person may be directing things toward you that you're not really enjoying. You could react back in anger, and we could both just get angry, and it would destroy the relationship and interaction between us. But if I can do this in nature, if I can learn to see the beauty in nature, and I can breathe in that beauty, and I can lift how I perceive and see nature, can I not do this with people? And what you will do is you will bring out in that person those qualities. And this is the whole idea that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. How beautiful I perceive something depends on how in touch with my own beauty I am. How much truth and goodness I experience from others depends how much I am in touch with my own truth and goodness. And I have a choice about that, because I have a mind, and this is especially where meditation comes in. When we learn to step back from the thoughts in our mind, we develop this capacity and this power to step back from whatever first comes into our mind about a situation and go, oh, no, okay, let's step back here. Let's come into the present moment. So I'm not bringing fears and doubts from my past, and I'm not projecting worries into my future. I'm coming into the here and now. And quite often just coming into the here and now will mean suddenly you see something differently. You might just catch something in that person's eye that gives you a glimpse into their pain that's being projected as anger. And you see how just this practice of every time you're out in nature, you practice changing your own state of being by focusing on the beauty in nature. And this is a spiritual practice that changes us and brings out the beauty in nature. And we can practice this with other people. And this also is how we can heal the planet. Okay, so this connection that we have with our planet, if we can bring out the best in a person by looking for the best in that person's face and their energy and their heart, we can do the same with our planet. So this sort of comes down to a couple of things. It helps to explain the concept of green fingers. So some people are said to have green fingers. It just seems that whatever they do, they can grow anything. I have green fingers. I don't know half the names of the plants in my garden or the plants in my house, but they all grow, and they grow incredibly. And other people say to me, but I can't keep a plant alive. And I've never quite worked out, well, what is it? I notice these plants are part of my family. If they're telling me they need water, I notice I have an innate connection with them. So I presume it's partly that. I mean, scientists have actually found that people who have green fingers do emit some kind of substance through their fingers that is very healing and helps things to grow. But this is just, it's that connection. It's noticing, it's being aware of your environment, coming into the moment and noticing that plant's wilting, it needs watering. Like you would if you had an animal or a pet, you connect with them. You know what they need because you are connecting with them with an awareness. And we can do the same with our planet. When we connect with the beauty of our planet, when we go and hug a tree, just because we're so very grateful that that oak tree has been there for 100 years and it's providing shade and beauty in my world. I like to sit and meditate under trees, and I love the feeling of that rock solid stability behind my back when I'm sitting there. Trees connect. All trees on the planet are connected to each other. They connect via their root system. The trees in a wood or a forest connect through fungi. I don't know if you've seen the series on telly. Fascinating the way they communicate. A tree that's lacking in water, other trees will direct water to that tree. They look after each other. So if you connect with one tree, you're connecting with all trees. If you just touch a tree and close your eyes and go into a very quiet place, you can feel the energy moving. You can feel the energy moving up the trunk of that tree. I think most people just don't do that. They don't probably realize that they can feel that. The same way, if you put your hands on an animal, you can feel their heart, you can feel their heat, you can feel their energy. It's the same with plants and trees. So this healing works both ways. Nature heals us and we heal nature. And anyone who has pets or has a real connection with animals will know this. They're particularly attuned to our emotional energy field. They pick up on our emotions and seem to know just what we need when we need it. They're very, especially animals that have spent historically a lot of time with humans, in close contact with humans. They're very good at reading us, and there is a connection, a heart connection that's two-way. We care for them and they look after us when we're sad or lonely or need a hug, that sort of thing. You might be aware of Emoto's work with water. I don't know if you're aware, Japanese scientist who has done incredible studies with water. And given that our planet is 70% water, all living things require water, and our bodies are 70% water, this is very significant work that he has done. And what he did in essence was he had, say, 2 jars of water, and he got a group of people to take one of these jars, exactly the same water, and one of these jars, they sent love and appreciation, just really positive feelings to this water. And then he froze the water and studied the crystals under a microscope. And then they got a jar of water, same water in another jar. And the group sent angry thoughts and all their upset and very negative energy to that water. And he froze that water and looked at the crystals under a microscope. And the crystals were completely different. The crystals of the water that was sent love were beautifully formed. They were like ice crystals when you look at snow under a microscope, the most beautiful, geometrically symmetrical, ordered crystals. The crystals of the water that had been sent, the really negative vibes, was all haphazard. There was no order. There was very little beauty to be found in those crystals. So then his next experiment was to take that water that had been sent the negative vibes and get everybody to send it positive vibes. Could they heal it? So lots of love, lots of appreciation, lots of gratitude. And sure enough, when he froze that water, it had formed beautiful crystals. He took polluted water and people could send this positive energy from their heart as a group to this water, and he saw the structure of the crystals change. So given that we are 70% water, we are affected. This is how we are affected whenever anybody sends a very strong emotion toward us. Whenever collectively we have a very strong emotion, like at the moment, the collective fear that people are feeling will be affecting the water and the bodies of everybody and all beings on the planet. But hopefully there's enough people who are lifting up into love. And very much I would say that our planet is responding with love as she heals and there's less pollution, and really trying to lift us up out of that fear, because it's two-way into love, where we get this beauty and this order. And so spiritually, understanding your connection with nature and the importance of getting out in nature, and not, just walking along and exercising for a cardiovascular workout or whatever, but actually connecting with your environment, seeing the beauty, listening to the birds, seeing the colors, allowing those colors to build, is a very spiritual experience. And in my experience, really opens up the Buddhic or intuitive part of our higher self, if you like. The part when I am totally out in nature and I'm not really in my mind, my thoughts have calmed right down, and I'm just there. If thoughts come in about things to do, or let them go and just connect. And it's very like meditation. It's like coming back to the breath. It's like coming back to the mantra or the seed thought or whatever you're using in meditation to anchor you in that silent witness, that silent observer that connects you to your deepest essence or your soul. So you can be meditating by just quietly being in nature. You can get the same spiritual benefits, and you can be helping to heal the planet by basically telling her that you love her and that you love this connection you have with her. And that energy from your heart goes out into nature. It's like when you care for your plants or you care for your animals. When you go out into nature and you really appreciate being there, you are healing and loving the planet, as well as healing and loving yourself, and connecting quite practically to the highest aspect of you through that truth, through the beauty and through the goodness that we see there. So I'm going to leave the talk there. We can discuss this after the meditation, after we've stopped to support the NHS. And you've probably got things to contribute, or maybe experiences you've had yourself, or any questions. So what I'd like to do now is move into the group meditation. So I'm just going to change the screen so that you can see the affirmation of love that we will begin with. There. Okay. So get yourself comfortable. Feet on the floor. Okay. So in meditation, I always like to ground our energy. And that way we're bringing that spiritual energy down into matter. And we can ground our energy simply by having the intention to connect down into the earth. So it's better if your feet aren't crossed. Have your feet side by side. And either through the base of your spine, through your base chakra, or through your feet, just imagine you are sending energy, you are sending a connection down into the earth. And that is a connection of love. It's like you are growing roots into that beautiful, nourishing energy that the earth energy is. Now with your spine upright, but not rigid, just gently see the words on your screen. You can say them softly to yourself or internally, or just listen to me say them. But let your awareness rest in your heart so that the intention comes from your heart. So this is the affirmation of love. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Now gently close your eyes. And I want you to just let everything that I've been talking about go. It will settle deep within you. And just come into this present moment. And we do this through the senses. So just notice your body sitting on the chair. Notice the clothes on your skin. Just allow the sounds in the room to come into your awareness. Now take that noticing to your breath. So just watching the breath come into your body and watching it gently leave. With each breath, I want you to feel like the breath is opening a beautiful channel right through the center of your body. Until it feels comfortable to breathe quite deeply. Feel your body beginning to relax. And just maintain a gentle focus on your breath. thoughts or distractions arise in your mind, as soon as you realize, just gently come back to the breath. And just let the breath take you into a quiet place inside. A place of stillness. You come into this present moment and connect with the truth that you are. Now bring your awareness to your chest, the area of your chest, and just breathe into your heart center. And imagine this heart center expanding and opening. It can help to visualize a beautiful lotus bud that is closed, and as you breathe into your heart center, it slowly unfolds. And it unfolds to reveal 6 perfectly formed, beautiful petals. Now imagine that through your heart you are connecting to the highest aspect of who you are, to your soul, your higher self. And I want you to imagine that you are bringing white, or you might prefer gold or violet purple light, down through your crown, down through the crown of your head and into all of the major energy centers or chakras in your body. You're opening to higher spiritual energies flowing down into your body. Imagine your heart especially as the vessel that receives this higher spiritual energy. And from the heart, this light is distributed throughout your body. So imagine your whole physical body filling with this purifying, cleansing, healing light. The light is flowing into every cell in your body. It is strengthening your immune system, calming your emotions, and bringing understanding and inspiration to your mind. And just continue to allow your body to fill with light. Now let that light flow out into the energy field or the etheric body that surrounds your physical body, cleansing and healing. Now imagine this light now that's pouring down through your crown into your heart, out into your physical body and into the energy field around your body, is now flowing out to fill your home, filling all living beings in your home with light and with love. Now imagine that that light is flowing out into your neighborhood, the street on which you live. Now feel it flow out into the town or city in which you live. And I want you to imagine that you connect with all the souls who are joining us today in this group meditation, whether live or through the recording. So our energies combined, this light now flows out to fill this nation. To fill this part of the world. To fill this hemisphere. Until the whole of our planet and all living beings are filled with this light. Imagine that our group joins with all groups who are working in meditation in this way. Imagine you can see our planet from space, and you can see a beautiful light surrounding our planet's aura, an etheric field of love and light, dissolving all the negative dark energies that may be there. And see that light flowing down into the hearts and minds of all who are open to this light. Filling the hearts and minds of people everywhere. See this light flowing into the natural world and healing our planet. See it restoring the balance in nature. Focus on the beauty of our planet. And see the light helping others to see the beauty of our planet and all the creatures and the plants, the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom. See the animals and the plants flourishing. See the planet healing. The air is clean and fresh. The waters are pure and clear. The ozone layer healthy. See the power of love to transform the pollution. To invoke in people the desire to make the changes they need to be at one with our planet again. See people everywhere working in ways to restore right relations between mankind and our planet. See man healing the planet and the planet healing man. Lifting us up into our soul expression through the expression of beauty in nature. See this beautiful cycle invoking the soul in man so that he and she may develop right relations with each other, between families and communities, nations. See the collective consciousness of all of mankind lifting to a place where we can live in peace and harmony with each other and with our world. Hold this energy and let it radiate out. Hold in your heart the intention for peace and goodwill. Hold a vision of the change needed on our planet to bring us back to conscious living, to living in harmony with nature, in harmony with each other. Find the love you feel for your planet in your heart and let it flow. Let us be open to higher spiritual energies of beings beyond this planet, of the angelic realm, and bring this energy down to help us. To help us to spiritualize matter. And now gently open your eyes, and on the screen you'll see the words for the World Prayer or Great Invocation, which we can repeat together with a united heart intention. So say the words quietly or silently, but say them with conviction from your heart. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Namaste. I'm going to pause us there for a moment so that we can go and celebrate and cheer on our NHS and give thanks, and we'll come back in a few moments. Hello, welcome back. I'm just going to unmute. One thing I meant to say, there's some very good fiction books. Some of you have probably read years ago the Celestine Prophecy. I think the movie might even be on Netflix. It's sort of a real introduction to energy fields and energy interactions between people. And then the same author, James Redfield, has written another book called The 10th Insight, and then a third book called The Secrets of Shambhala. Now, they are fiction books, But it's, and they were written some time ago now, but it's amazing how relevant they are to what's going on actually at the moment. And there's a lot in those books. They're good stories, but there's also a lot in those books. There's a lot of understanding about energy. So if you want something sort of to read, they're well worth a good read. And they're the sort of books that if you wanted to give them to young people and give them an understanding of energy without even realizing they were getting an understanding of energy, that's a good way to do it. And that's where the movie is quite good as well. And I'm pretty sure I saw it on Netflix the other day, which I was thrilled to see, because that'll bring it into the mainstream, which is not that far away. This won't be a weird topic in not too long. Now, has anybody got anything to share or any questions or anything they would like to contribute? Bernie, let's unmute you. Go. Oh, I can't hear you, Bernie. I can't hear you, Bernie.
Gosh.
Oh, now I can.
Oh, you can hear me now, yeah?
Yeah.
I've lost the picture, though. Oh, gosh.
We can see you.
You can see me, you can hear me, yes. I've got back to the Google screen. Not to worry, as long as you can hear me. It's interesting. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting what you're saying about books, Teresa, because I realised as you were talking that I'm very much in my head about spirituality, and I've got tons of books and YouTubes and websites, and I'm always, you know, looking at it from a head point of view. And even when I'm out in nature, because I do wildflower walks, I'm a herbalist, I want to know the name of every flower. And I suddenly thought, why do I need to know the name? I just got to absorb the spirit.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got two sides to me. I've got the academic side where I teach people, and also the need to be grounded, and it's getting this balance right, really.
Yes, yes.
I've been searching for truth all my life, so I've got tons of books comparing, contrasting people's views. So I welcome that sort of spontaneity, which I need to work on a bit more.
Yeah, and I think that's the case of many people who read widely of, say, ancient wisdom teachings, is sometimes it becomes too intellectual. We need something, we need to ground it in our everyday life. We're here to spiritualize matter, and this is one of the ways that we can do that. Yes, it is brilliant to have that understanding that comes through the mind, to think about and ponder on those higher thoughts. But really, if you know, I think of the Tibetan people, they just live their spirituality. They don't go to church on Sunday to be spiritual, or have certain ceremonies or certain times of the day they're spiritual. Their whole culture and whole way of being is spiritual. And that's sort of where I'm aiming. It's like, bring it into all aspects of your life, even the fiction you read, even what you watch on Netflix. And that way you're learning all the time, and it's experiential. It's quite pragmatic learning as well. And what you will be doing is you will be teaching others without even realizing that you are, by that process. But thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. That's very, very illuminating. Thank you.
Heather.
Whilst you were talking, I mean, the Celestine Prophecy I was introduced to about 27 years ago, and I've got the video, and it is on Netflix now. But while she was talking, I was thinking about a poem I read only the other day, a very, very short poem, and it just came to mind. Can I read it to you?
Yes, that would be lovely.
It's called Lost by David Wagoner. Stand still. The trees ahead and bushes behind you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger, must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes. Listen, it answers. I have made this place around you. If you leave it, you may come back again. saying here. No two trees are the same to a raven. No two branches are the same to a wren. If what a tree or bush does is lost on you, you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. And that just really touched me. You know, when I see these things, I then collect them because I'm thinking, oh, that really touched my heart.
Mm.
And whilst you were talking, I was thinking about that. And I've got a lovely wood here in Ainsdale, which you can walk in, and it's just beautiful. So thank you for that. It raised a lot of lovely things for me.
Yeah, thank you. And that's something I was talking to a Kiwi friend the other day, and it's something in this country, the right to roam, all your footpaths and bridleways and everything that you have. There's nowhere else in the world has it like here. Even New Zealand, where I'm from, you can't just wander off anywhere you like. You have to just go on official tracks. They don't have that ancient law and the right to roam. And you are so lucky here that wherever you live in this country, you can quite quickly be out in the countryside. And, you know, there are people all over the world who don't have access to nature like we do in this country. Even though we're a, you know, densely populated country, we can always get out in that natural world, usually quite easily. There's always a way. Is anybody else? Questions? No. Michael, let them you go.
A couple of things. The recommendation about the Celestine Prophecy, I read them all as they came out. And for people wanting an introduction to synchronicity and how spiritual insight can incorporate itself into your life, it's a very, very, very good recommendation.
Yeah.
Everybody would be enriched from reading that series, definitely. And the other point I wanted to make, I thought your talk was absolutely excellent. And the other point I wanted to make was about what we eat, because obviously our connection to nature is also enhanced by nature keeping us alive by what we eat. And so the connection you were talking about with the ice crystals applies also to our food, what we eat and what we drink, and the quality of the substance that we eat and drink would also enhance and strengthen our connection to nature. And so wholesome food and wholesome water would also be an essential part of a spiritual existence.
Totally. And that links into the talk I did on raising your vibration, because food has an etheric energy, it has a prana or an energy, and you can actually enhance the food you eat by blessing it. Or like if you hold a glass of water and send love into that glass of water, and then you drink that water, you're taking that vibration into your body as a self-healing thing to do. You can have crystals in your water. You can choose to have food that has been processed as little as possible and has come from the ground to you as quickly as possible. And food will ground your energy. Food connects us. Wild food, you know, follow the seasons, pick the berries when they're in the season, follow the seasons of nature, eat the fruit and vegetables that are in season, because they will have the highest vibration and the most prana and vitality, and that comes into your body. So you're right. So a lot of unfortunately, our farming methods and things don't always align with best practice for nature, because there's just too many of us. But that's a whole nother topic in terms of how we could spiritually feed the whole world. But no, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that. It's very pertinent. Does anybody else have any questions? You can always, if you don't want to talk, you can always jot it down in the chat, and I'll answer your question that way. Oh, Karen, go.
I just wanted to say it's very interesting, is spirituality and energy. I'm very opposite of Bernie. I don't read. Occasionally, I'll watch something on YouTube, or I'll watch something. At the moment, I'm watching The Story of God, which is also on Netflix, which has been fascinating because, of course, it talks about all the different religions and different things that are going on. But I've used energy healing through trees for many years now. I feel when I'm not well, I just go and plonk myself by a tree. You know, it's always been a great family joke. Where's your mum? Oh, she sat by a tree. But I feel the exchange of the energy between the two of us. And when I'm well and my vibrations are good, which they are most of the time, I go and give it back. I go and, you know, touch a tree and send love down to Mother. And I feel lots and lots of things, and I have lots of discussions with Mum, and I did with Don when he was well, about lots of different things, and I've discussed things with Ted as well, Ted Capstick. But I don't read at all on the subjects, because I start reading them and I think, why do I need to know this? I know.
Yeah. And that's an intuitive sense that we have. I mean, if you look at indigenous cultures who lived in alignment with nature, that they don't know all this, but they lived it anyway. They lived more in harmony with nature and the planet than we do now. And the comment you made about trees, I mean, many of our traditional healing modalities, like herbal medicine, like naturopathy, many even of our Western drugs come from the plant kingdom, from trees, from plants. And a lot of those work on vibrational energy. So the idea is, if we have a certain vibration when we are healthy, and when we are unhealthy, it's like it's discordant, our vibration. If we usually vibrate with a certain note, we're out of tune. Okay, and that's dis-ease, or that's illness. We're not vibrating or resonating. And somehow the right substance from nature can come into our energy and just bring our vibration back into tune, back into resonance. And this is something that homeopathy is based on. And I know myself that the power of herbal medicines. Can you hear me? I've just had a notice that my speaker's not working. Yeah? Can you all hear me? Yeah, okay. So thank you, Karen. Yes, and we don't have to study these things to intuitively understand a lot of it. Right. Well, if nobody else has, oh, I've got to look in the chat. You are breaking up. Yeah. There's something. I've just had a notice on my computer saying my speaker's not working properly. So I think that's probably a good indication it's time to finish. Next week, I've got a guest speaker. I've got Gary Kidgel coming to speak, and he is an esoteric astrologer as well, lives up near Dundee, but his focus is on understanding spirituality through myths and legends, and archetypes, and he's got some real treats for us. So I'll send you an email with the topic, but Gary's a fantastic speaker. I think you'll really enjoy that next week. So I'll see you next week. Namaste.